Dr. Michelle Li. Welcome to the Will to Win Show, episode 24, where we'll be talking about Chinese medicine. And you've got a wealth of experience in the industry. And just to give some background on Michelle, Dr. Michelle is a fourth generation acupuncturist, Chinese herbal medicine practitioner, and chiropractor at Li Integrative Health, based in Parramatta. She has a special interest in treating chronic digestive conditions, skin conditions, and women's health and fertility. She has also appeared in an SBS episode of a series program called The Feed. Welcome, Dr. Michelle Li.
Thank you, Stephen, so much for the introduction. It's a pleasure to be here. And I can't wait to share with you about the new perspective on health from the traditional Chinese medicine point of view.
Fantastic. Well, let's get stuck into the questions then.
Yes, let's do it.
Awesome. So what is Chinese traditional medicine?
Yes, so traditional Chinese medicine, or TCM, is a complete established medical system that's been here for over 2,000 years. And it's used as diagnosing different illnesses, diseases, as a way of treatment and as a way of preventing illnesses and diseases as well. It has a holistic approach to health, and it's now globally used as more people are experiencing benefits from this different approach from the Western medical system, and with a shift into the natural medicine the past several years. So a key concept or a big principle of TCM, it follows the idea of maintaining yin and yang balance.
Yin and yang. I tell you what, Michelle, I have heard of it. I've been curious about the yin and yang philosophy, but I've never really fully understood or comprehended it. So if you could explain it in more detail, that would be amazing.
Yes. So yin and yang, they are complementary opposite forces that, whether it's abstract or material aspects of the world or space, it simply is a concept. So we say that with yin, it describes, say, for example, darkness. It's associated with femininity. It's associated with cooling properties, so water or ice. And with yang, that is associated with more the active substances, or say, for example, masculinity as well. It's associated with the sun and more warm aspects of sort of ideas we look at. Along with the concept of yin and yang, we also say, in terms of the health perspective, we also want to have the maintenance of free regular flow of qi, or life force or energy, through the body as well. I could certainly do with more energy.
Sometimes you feel like you're lacking energy, or you don't have enough energy, or your energy is out of balance. Like, when it comes to TCM, how do you help people enhance their energy to be more energized?
Yes. So there are different ways. We have different practices such as acupuncture, herbal medicine, and we look at nutritional dietary therapy as well. So these are ways of stimulating the healing processes of the body. So in what we say, for example, in terms of food, we look at food that is we don't just look at food by its nutritional or vitamins or minerals, these sorts of calories, these sorts of concepts. We also have a different lens into looking at its energetic properties. So if a certain food is, we say, more warming, such as lamb or the protein or the meat we get. These come in contrast to, say, for example, vegetables or salads. These are cooling. So it really depends on your own body type and catering to your body type to get the energy from food or with herbs or with acupuncture.
That's fascinating. And I'm really curious to know, like, what actually got you into TCM?
Yes, so I've always had a large exposure to TCM growing up. Since my family has come from a Hong Kong background, TCM is actually integrated into our culture. So from normal meals that we have to our daily habits as well. And since in our family and generations as well, we have traditional Chinese medicine practitioners, Chinese herbal dispensers as well. This has also laid a solid foundation for me to understand what TCM really is about. So growing up as a food lover, I remember when I was younger, my parents would always talk about food not just by the nutritional value, like the vitamins and minerals, but they would also refer to the food by what I mentioned previously, by the energetic properties. So
tell us about these energetic properties, Michelle.
Yes. So in terms of, say, for example, how we look at, say, for example, ginger, we say it's warming. It's warming, it's good for the digestive system and can help with any sort of bloating or nausea or vomiting. In contrast to, say, for example, fruits like watermelon, they're cooling, it has a cooling property. So generally, it's eaten during summertime. And we say it's not as suitable to have as much in wintertime. So this sort of concept really fascinated me. And then that's what led me to continue to study more about it in uni, and then pursued work in the area, in the field as well. And here I am. Yes.
Well done, Michelle.
Yes, thank you.
And what is the difference between, let's say, traditional Chinese medicine and Western medicine?
Yes, so TCM focuses on addressing the root cause of the problem and not just the symptoms or signs that a person may come in for. So in contrast to Western medicine, say, for example, if someone comes in for acne or some skin issue, they may give them some cream or the antibiotics to help treat it. But if there are, say, for example, other imbalances in other parts of the system, say, for example, the stress or improper diet or improper lifestyle, they may not be taken into account from the Western medicine side, but TCM does. So it looks at the whole picture and work out the connecting points and how they lead to one imbalance to another. Another point of difference is while Western medicine, they require imaging, doing lots of tests, or other sorts of examinations to confirm a diagnosis. Chinese medicine very often involve detailed questioning, consultation, looking at your tongue, looking at your pulse as diagnostic methods to come up with a TCM diagnosis, even when something that may not be observable on an imaging is done yet. So it is very good in identifying an imbalance and delivering a treatment relatively quickly. And TCM also looks at a principle of the importance of health maintenance and disease prevention. So our practices involve a lot, not just in restoring balance, relieving symptoms, but also help with health enhancement. Western medicine mainly controls or suppresses whatever symptoms that a patient may present, but not so they may not have as much of a focus in the health maintenance side. So those are the key points that are different.
Amazing. And what about when it comes to managing your emotions? How does TCM bridge the gap between the various emotions that people experience and enable them to be able to manage them more effectively?
Yes. So in TCM, a large principle of how emotions and the body is connected is through emotions can be symptoms and causes of physical health problems. So we're talking about there's some connections between emotions and organs. If there is some imbalance in the emotions, that can affect your certain organs. And if there are certain imbalances in organs, that can manifest as an imbalanced emotion. So there are 5 basic feelings that are associated with certain organs, and we refer to the first one. So anger is associated or has a relation to liver. It has an influence to the liver. So it can then lead to disruption in the detoxification processes in the body. Worry is associated or has an influence on the spleen, and we say that that's part of the digestive system. So this can manifest as bloating or loose stools or fatigue. So these are all happening when there is a excess of worry. The third emotion is fear, which influences the kidney. And so you can imagine fear, it can increase the cortisol levels in the body as well, which we say in turn can affect the adrenal system, the reproductive system as well. And the next emotion is joy. Joy,
one of the most important of all.
Joy is a good emotion, but if it's too much of joy, it becomes, we'd say, it turns to restlessness. So, and if too little of it, it can become depression. So this, we say, can have influence and effect on the heart, and this can present as palpitations, as trouble sleeping, insomnia, and poor memory, potentially, in some people. And another last emotion is sadness and grief. So this has an influence on the lungs. This potentially can also impact on, we say, the immune system. So if there's an excess of that emotion, people may be more prone to catching colds, have a lower immune system, can have allergies, have shortness of breath, and more. Yeah.
I see. And what about when it comes to TCM and how when people have certain skin conditions, which you have already touched on, like how does it treat skin conditions, or what's a more in-depth take on being able to counteract these conditions?
Yes, I'm glad you brought it up. So TCM has another concept that the skin is a mirror to your own internal health. So any external skin imbalances means that there is some potential underlying imbalances happening in the internal bodily processes. So take, for example, acne. Acne, as we know, it's a overproduction of sebum or oily substance for the skin. If it becomes inflamed, it can then present as angry-looking red sore bumps on the skin. So Western medicine usually may prescribe a cream or antibiotics to help with the superficial surface to settle it down. In TCM, we look at the underlying imbalances. So depending on different acne conditions, the treatments will be tailored, customized to their potential cause of that acne for that body type. In general, overall, we say that there is a excess of internal heat or some blood stasis or dampness, which then impacts on certain organs, and then it will lead to some hormonal issues and some toxin buildups. So acupuncture is a great natural, non-pharmacological way to help with relieving these sorts of inflammation. So it can help with also, when we do that acupuncture, help with regulating the hormones and also reduce and calm down the hormone nervous system to help with reducing the stress, which may be a component of the acne coming up. With herbal medicine, they're usually prescribed as a formula if you were to have a specific herbal treatment for the acne. But some common herbal ingredients that's used for treating acne, an example is dandelion roots, which contains antibacterial, anti-inflammatory, and antifungal properties. So it's great for soothing the skin and also preventing future breakouts. Another herb is the Japanese honeysuckle plants, which not only has antibacterial, anti-inflammatory properties, but also is rich in antioxidants. So it's great for helping to prevent any environmental irritants on the skin, and also can help with reducing aging of the skin, preventing it from premature aging.
And what about the correlation between both stress and skin conditions? People, from my experience, who experience greater amounts of stress, who are always under pressure, feeling overwhelmed, they tend to be more likely to have skin conditions. Would that be right?
It can, depending on how their body tries to manage the stress, right? So obviously, excess stress, we say it impacts on the liver organ. So it affects the detoxification processes. So that's why it can cause a buildup of toxins. If, say, for example, the toxins, they're not well eliminated through, say, for example, sweating or our bowel motion, then the skin is also an organ that toxins will try to come out. Yeah, so that's why people can present with acne or skin conditions if they have increased uncontrolled stress. Yeah,
I see. And what about other similar skin conditions that can be triggered? What are some of those, if you can think of any?
Yeah. So a variety. Yeah. So psoriasis is also a well-known skin condition, autoimmune skin condition that's related to stress as well. It manifests as a white scaly, patchy skin appearance on the body.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. And what about how does TCM help with memory, focus, and concentration?
So TCM helps in a number of ways, and it is becoming prevalent with this memory, concentration, and focus in today's age, especially with our fast-paced world and increased in technology and social media. So in saying that, related conditions such as ADHD, it is said that according to statistics, 1 in 20 Australians have ADHD.
My God.
So
I hope I'm not one of them.
Yes. So it is very relevant to today. And how TCM helps is with acupuncture, it helps in a number of different ways. With one being it can help with regulating the stress and anxiety. So if you have high stress and high anxiety, it will be likely that your memory, focus, concentration will be affected as well. When we do an acupuncture treatments, it actually releases the feel-good hormones, the endorphins.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, and also reduces the cortisol levels as well, so the stress hormones. Another way that acupuncture helps is that it improves the blood flow to the brain and also helps with protecting neurological functions. A study has shown that the part that the acupuncture seems to help protect is the hippocampus. A lot of the neurons are protected in that region, which helps with, which is responsible for learning, memory, and spatial navigation. A study that was done at an American university on a group of 90 students aged between 18 to 30 years. They were given a maths test to do. The group that had received acupuncture scored a 9.5% higher as a total score and made 36% less errors in the maths test compared to the group that didn't get acupuncture.
It's quite incredible.
Yes. And lastly, but not least, it can also help with improving sleep quality. So if you have better quality of rest, that can also help with improving your focus and concentration during the day. This is done by the acupuncture stimulating the body's ability to release the natural
feel-good hormones?
Not just
hormones?
Feel-good hormones, but melatonin.
Oh.
Yeah, the hormone that helps regulating your sleep cycles. So that's why acupuncture can help with memory, focus, and concentration in a number of different ways. Yes.
Incredible. And how does Chinese herbal medicine help with the promotion of athletic performance in sports?
So using TCM in sports is a great area for helping with improving athletic performance or improving recovery time and improving fatigue, especially from an intense session of training or a sports competition. The relationship between exercise and TCM has been studied for over 100 years, actually. So they have found that TCM has a significant impact on the cardiovascular system, on the muscles, and also fatigue recovery. Studies have shown that herbal ingredients such as the astragalus roots, it can help with promoting the muscle repair for the body. Another herb is the turmeric, which contains the curcumin compound and can help as a natural analgesic as well, help with managing relieving pain. So, for example, if someone has delayed onset of soreness, muscle soreness from exercise, the Cotinopsis root is also another herb that is good for, we say, improving the energy levels. And we say in TCM helps with replenishing the qi or the energy in the body related to the spleen, the digestive functions.
I see. And what are some of the lifestyle or dieting advice you would recommend from a TCM perspective?
Yes. So a dietary practice that has been ingrained in Hong Kong Chinese culture as well is the preparation of bone broths, whether it's chicken bone broth or pork bone broth or beef broth. Okay, this is very good in the sense that because when it is cooked or slow cooked in slow cooked simmering water, all the connective tissues, the tendons, the cartilage, all dissolve in the broth. So then the broth itself extracts these nutrients, and then when these are easily digested, because it's we say these are soluble proteins and minerals, means it's easily dissolved in water. This can then help with our own bones or joint health and overall health. So this also ties in with actually helping with fatigue recovery from the athletic perspective as well. This is very good. And this broth also contains collagen as its basis of the broth. So this is important because 70% of our body is made of collagen. 70% is made of collagen.
Wow,
so this includes the skin, this includes the gut lining, our muscles, our tendons, all the tissues together. So that's why it is quite useful as part of including and incorporating as part of our diets. We also say to generally avoid any cold, greasy, oily, chili, deep fried food. Okay, these are hard to digest, as well as avoiding irregular or late night eating. And we also say it's emotional regulation is a very important part of also balancing our emotions and helping us with maintaining a balanced, realistic perspective on different aspects of life. And because you can imagine if you're always holding on to the negative emotions and you're unable to let go, this hurts your body. Yeah, this creates stress and then underlying inflammation. So a good way to bring awareness to help you gain that sort of balanced perspective, balanced emotion, is to always remember that we're going back to yin yang, not everything that is all good is good, and not everything that is bad is all bad.
So Michelle, can you just say that again? It's so profound.
Not everything that is good is all good, and not everything that is bad is all bad.
Wow.
Yes.
So now we'll carry on from where we left off, and I'm going to ask you the next question. How has traditional Chinese medicine evolved over the millennium?
So TCM is constantly evolving. For example, in clinical practice, traditionally, herbal medicine is taken as a decoction. So you have to boil the raw herbs in a clay pot, and it can be time consuming for that when it finishes to take the decoction. You have to wait a period of time. Whereas now we are able to concentrate the herbs into granulated powder, so that when we add hot water, dissolve a few spoons of the powder, we can take it conveniently as a concentrated herbal tea. And with TCM practitioners today, many of us are now integrating and updating our knowledge with new researches that are coming up as well. And we are combining our TCM knowledge with a Western medicine understanding on health, so that it can give us a more informed, holistic, modern perspective on health as well.
What is the opportunities that people have to be able to enhance their overall health through applying principles of TCM to be able to optimize their overall health and well-being?
Yeah, so further to the previous lifestyle advice mentioned, we would suggest consider incorporating consistent regular health maintenance practices or treatments as well. So whether it's, say, for example, meditation or yoga or cardio exercises, or whether it's going in for a acupuncture session, or having some herbal tea or other health treatments like physio or chiro. These are all components that people should use as maintenance so that they can prevent their, say for example, if they have some underlying imbalances, to prevent it from reaching to a stage where it becomes serious. So this preventative approach is so important in today's society. These are every day. If we become aware and mindful of how we're feeling, or if something doesn't feel right, it is an opportunity for us to have a look at doing something about it in the moment rather than leaving it till later.
Of course, what is the lesson in this situation or circumstance, and what can I do to use it to be able to help me grow, to be able to enhance my health so I can be a stronger, better person?
That's right. Yes. So being proactive, having that mindset of taking the initiative now rather than leaving it till later.
So good. And there was something else you wanted to touch on about the TCM, if you can recall, if you can just elaborate on that.
The importance of the mind, body, emotions, the connection. And how we look at health is, it's not, rather than having a rather than putting different aspects of health into boxes, having it as a holistic picture. And in terms of what we understand as what influences health, a lot of the conditions that arise isn't just coming, say for example, from genetics or having a family history. Even if they come from if a condition comes from a family history, there are other factors that will influence whether it stabilizes or it worsens or whether it improves. So we look at also the environmental external factors kind of influence impact on our health. We also acknowledge that our diet, any potential stress or overworking or improper sleeping patterns, all of this will also influence our health. Yeah.
And you mentioned sleeping patterns. I think that's something we all struggle with from time to time. What are some other things that you could recommend or suggest about that would help people improve their sleep?
Yes. So in TCM, we have a Chinese medicine clock. And this gives us a guide of certain organs that are important to give it time to rest at certain periods of time. So we say generally it's ideal to go to bed by 10, if not earlier.
Impossible.
Yes, in this world, it can be difficult. But we say that ideally by 10, because in TCM, we say this is when the triple burner, if we compare it to Western medicine understanding, this can be the endocrine system. This is when the system starts to release certain hormones to help with making sure all the other organs are doing its proper job. It needs to rest, this endocrine system. If you go beyond 10, you sleep 12 or 1, we say between 11 to 1, this is the gallbladder time. And 1 to 3 is a liver time. So you can imagine if you're still awake, you're not giving these organs its proper rest. So that will influence, say, for example, your mood during the day as well. People may be easily frustrated or irritable, or it can impact on, again, the detoxing processes. And that's why we say it's the key components actually sleeping early and waking up early. So the time you sleep is more important than the number of hours you get for sleep.
What's the saying? Early to bed, early to rise makes a man or a woman healthy, wealthy, and wise.
Oh, that's a great quote.
Thank you.
Yes. So you got to remember that.
I will try.
Yes.
Because I'm a bit of a late person when it comes to going to bed, but sometimes I do wake up in the mornings, but it's less often.
Yeah. And I'm sure it's not just.
I mean, I'm not the only one doing it.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've learned a lot during this podcast session, and we have come to the end, and we've answered a lot of questions about traditional Chinese medicine, and I've been blown away with your knowledge and wisdom in the area, Michelle. So thank you so much for being on the show. And before we say goodbye, if people want to connect with you or they want to use one of your services or anything like that, how do they connect?
Yeah, so our clinic is in Parramatta, 75 Phillip Street. If you have any questions or you just want to pop in to have a chat, feel free to come by. And in terms of our online presence, we have Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Our handle is Li.Integrative Health. We will also link it in the description with this podcast later on.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Nicely done, Michelle. And I am the Will to Win coach. I help people make what seems impossible totally possible. You can follow me on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and handle is Steve Scarni, STEVESCARNIE. And that's it. That's the end of the show, Michelle. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you, Stephen. It's a pleasure. I hope to see you again.